Nuci Space was named in memory of Nuci Phillips. He was a 22-year-old senior at the University of Georgia. He was also a pretty well-known guitarist in town in the music scene. He was diagnosed with clinical depression in 1991 while he was in high school. And then basically 5 years later, when he came to Athens, he took his own life in 1996. And his family, and more specifically his mom, Linda Phillips, came up with this idea of basically melding together his greatest passion and also one of his greatest needs, getting mental health care and access to mental health care in a timely fashion. We get asked quite often why those two things, and there's a lot of reasons, but the main reason is because of Nuci.
I don't necessarily think that having a lifestyle filled with music or art causes depression, but that a lot of people who might have a predisposition to depression are attracted to those fields for whatever reason, because they feel like they need to express themselves through art or music.
Depression is not specific to the creative community. It's one of those things that kind of boils over into the entire community. But the risk factors, I do believe, are different. And that's probably the thing that we hear more than anything.
Certainly not always self-worth issues with creative people, but I think there's definitely a self-worth sensitivity. And if you put all that energy into it and you finally show someone yourself, in your mind as a creative person, you're showing them yourself. If their response to that isn't reinforcing, then it can be somewhat devastating. Drinking a lot, or the availability of alcohol on the road, was a lot more of a sure thing to me than meds.
You're kind of stuck in that cycle of working in restaurants for years, when maybe your idea was move to Athens and become a rock star.
You spend your days listening to sad songs by people, and then you may spend the rest of your days trying to create those sad songs and find the place that allows you to be a part of that. And if you believe that being in that world will be compromised, your connection to that world will be compromised by medication. I mean, it took me years to just try it, you know.
We've kind of combined our rehearsal spaces and a place to drink a cup of coffee and a library and basically a public space, and also made it a door to get help for mental health. So what we do is, anybody that comes to Nuci Space, they could be here for a variety of reasons. And I think that helps to kind of relieve that stigma of, rather than going to, a mental health care facility and someone seeing you there, I think we're able to break that stereotype and that stigma down a little bit. The other thing is that the secondary help that comes from just being in a place that, you have a built-in network and a built-in community and people, a support system that a lot of people don't have, especially when they're depressed. Anybody that comes through our door, we sit down with them, and first of all, we find out if they have insurance or other means to pay for treatment. It's probably 98% of the time, they're uninsured. They don't have a lot of different ways to get access to that treatment. So what we've done is we've gone out and built relationships with organizations like Family Counseling Services here in town, and individual counselors and folks like that. And we work with them to bring the cost down to kind of a sliding scale level. We ask that client to pay a small copay, for lack of a better word, of say like $10, and we'll pay the remainder of the bill. In the few circumstances where the client cannot pay that $10, we will work with them to make sure that that's not the reason why that they're not going. So I would say from a financial angle, that's one of the obstacles that we try to overcome.
I would say Nuci Space is probably the most important thing that's happened to Athens in the last 10 years, because there is not any other mental health care for people without insurance.
Our counseling advocate is simply that, an advocate. They're not here to, do therapy. They're not here to be a psychiatrist or give medicine. They're basically here to be that person's support in that moment and along their journey of getting help. Physicians or even our therapists, we take a lot of time to make sure we get to know our therapists, is that they understand kind of the lifestyle and the risk factors involved, specifically in the creative community.
The most important thing to me then, to relate to physicians, is just how much hope I put in to finally getting to see someone. And after having felt so bad for so long and scared and terrified and not sure what was going on with me, and making an appointment and waiting for 3 or 4 weeks and finally getting to see my doctor and sitting in that waiting room and going, things are going to be better now.